Hello students, welcome to a lecture on Concept of Health and Diseases, Definition of Health, Determinants of Health, Agent, Host and Environmental Factors in Health and Disease. The main objectives of today's lecture are to give a general idea about health and disease, to explain different determinants of health, explaining agent, host and environment in health and disease, to give a precise account of multifactorial etiology of disease, explain multifactorial etiology of some commonly occurring diseases like diabetes, cancer and hyperthyroidism. To begin with, let me first of all discuss the definition of health. Health in simple traditional sense has been viewed as absence of disease. The person without any disease is considered healthy. In ecological terms, health is viewed as a dynamic equilibrium between human being and environment, and disease as small adjustment of the human being to the environment. The psychological concept defines health as health is not only biomedical concept phenomenon but is influenced by social, psychological, cultural, economic and political factors of the people concerned. To be more precise in defining health, let us consider the definition of health provided by World Health Organization. WHO defines health as a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. This definition covers almost all aspects of human life such as social, economic, physical, physiological, etc. Now we can say that health does not just mean the physical well-being of the individual but refers to the social, emotional, spiritual and cultural well-being of the individual and of the whole community. Further, we may perceive health as maintenance of function and structure of body and its interaction with the environment. Dear students, it might have now been clear to you what health means and the way we can define it. Now, let us move to the second part of our topic, that is the determinants of health. Determinant is defined as anything that controls or influences what happens. Determinants of health are the range of personal, social, economic and environmental factors that influence health. Health is thus determined by multiple factors. So many factors combine together to affect the health of individuals and in turn that of the communities. To a large extent, factors such as where we live, the state of our environment, genetics, our income and education level and our relationships with friends and family all have considerable impacts on health, whereas the more commonly considered factors such as access and use of healthcare services often have less of an impact. Determinants of health reach beyond the boundaries of traditional healthcare and public health sectors. Sectors such as education, housing, transportation, agriculture and environment can be important allies in improving population health. Determinants of health include all those factors which affect the individual. They are interrelated and interconnected. A clear-cut classification of the factors cannot be thus made. Nevertheless, some of the primary determinants of health are broadly classified into internal determinants of health and external determinants of health. Both are connected and interrelated, so it is more feasible to study them under following headings. Let us begin with the genetic determinants of health. Genetics, as we all know, is the study of genes, genetic variation, and heredity in living organisms. Inheritance plays a key role in determining the health of an individual. Genetic makeup of an individual controls almost all individual characteristics like mental setup, behavior, genetic disorders, immunity, attitude, etc. However, most of them are secondarily influenced by environmental factors. The major genetic determinants of health include pedigree analysis, inherited condition such as sickle cell anemia, hemophilia, cystic fibrosis, oncogenes, etc. Now, let us take an example of the genetics as a determinant of health. Sickle cell anemia is a severe hereditary form of anemia in which a mutated form of hemoglobin distorts the red blood cells into crescent shape at low oxygen levels. It is commonest among those of African descent. This condition is inherited when both the parents carry the gene for sickle cell. The person with correct gene sequence is genetically fit and healthy, devoid of any inborn defects. Likewise, genetics is a key determinant of health. Individual behavior also acts as a determinant of behavior. It also includes the habits of a person, food habits, sitting walking postures, physical activities, how we deal with life's stresses and challenges, all affect the health. Individual behavior thus includes the habits a person is habitual of. Let us take a common example. A simple habit of cleaning hands before eating prevents infectious diseases to a great extent, giving a boost to health of the person. Likewise, smoking, which is an individual behavior in Canada, has been estimated to be responsible for at least 1/4 of all deaths and adults between the ages of 35 and 84. Now, moving to still another determinant of health, that is the biological factors as a determinant of health. It affects specific populations more than others. For example, the old age people are more susceptible to a disease than adolescents. Likewise, a population much adapted to certain environmental conditions can live better than immigrant populations. Let us take an example. Men are more likely to die prematurely than women, largely as a result of heart diseases, fatal unintentional injuries, cancer, and suicide. Rates of potential years of life lost before age 70 are almost twice as high for men than women and approximately 3 times as high among men aged 20 to 34. While women live longer than men, they are more likely to suffer depression, stress overload, often due to efforts to balance work and family life, chronic conditions such as arthritis. Further, let us discuss external environmental factors as determinants of health. As we know, the health is determined by several factors including genetic inheritance, personal behaviors, access to quality health care, and the general external environment such as quality of air, water, and housing conditions. The quality of environment has a direct effect on the individual health. Physical environment like safe water and clean air, healthy workplaces, safe houses, communities, and roads all contribute to good health. At certain levels of exposure, contaminants in our air, water, food, and soil can cause a variety of adverse health effects, including cancer, birth defects, respiratory illness, and gastrointestinal ailments. In the built environment, factors related to housing, indoor air quality, and the design of communities and transportation systems can significantly influence not only our physical well-being but also psychological well-being. For example, the prevalence of childhood asthma, a respiratory disease that is highly sensitive to airborne contaminants, has increased sharply over the last 2 decades due to increase in population. Now, moving to social environment, which is a subtype of the environment as a whole and an important determinant of health. The social environment includes the group to which we belong, the neighborhoods in which we live, the organization of our workplaces, and the policies we create to order our lives. There have been recent reports in the literature that the social environment is associated with disease and mortality risks independent of the individual risk factors. The array of values and norms of a society influence in varying ways the health and well-being of the individuals and populations. For example, greater support from families, friends, communities is linked to better health. Social environment also includes culture, customs, traditions, educational status of the society, all are directly linked to the health of an individual. Another environmental factor, the income and social status, is another determinant of health. Health status improves at each step up the income and social hierarchy. High income determines living conditions such as safe housing and ability to buy sufficient good food. The healthiest populations are those in societies which are prosperous and have an equitable distribution of wealth. For example, we all know how important fruits are for good health, providing vitamins and antioxidants and playing a main role in preventing aging. A poor family with low income can least afford them. Now, moving to social support networks as a determinant of health. Support from families, friends, and communities is associated with better health. Such social support networks could be very important in helping people solve problems and deal with adversity, as well as in maintaining a sense of mastery and control or life circumstances. The caring and respect that occurs in social relationships and the result of sense of satisfaction and well-being seems to act as a buffer against health problems. Dear students, by now the concept of health and disease might be clear to you. Now let's move to the other objective of today's topic, that is agent, host and environment in health and disease. Agent, host and environment are the three important factors which are associated with health and disease. These three factors are known as epidemiological triad or epidemiological triangle. If any one of these three factors is missing, then disease cannot occur. The clinical signs of the disease, whether endemic or epidemic, are the result of an intricate relationship between the infectious agent, that is the virus, bacteria or other, the host's immune response, and the environmental factors imposed on the host. As we can see that the triangle has three corners called vertices. First one, the agent or microbe that causes the disease. Next, the host or organism harboring the disease. Third one, the environment or those external factors that cause or allow disease transmission. Now, let us talk about the three one by one. Agent is the most important factor for the occurrence of disease. The disease agents include biological agents like bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa, worms, and insects. Nutrient agents like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. An excess or deficiency of these nutrients may cause nutritional diseases. Physical agents like extremes of cold and heat, X-rays, gamma rays, pressure, electricity, etc. Chemical agents like carbon monoxide, pesticides, fertilizers, fumes, dust, gases, etc. may cause illness by inhalation, ingestion or direct contact. Mechanical agents like motor vehicles, machinery, etc. may cause injuries and fractures. Moving on, now let us talk about host. The host, when the immunity, that is the defense mechanism, is lost. The host-related factors include age, sex, heredity, nutrition, occupation, customs, and habits, etc. Certain diseases like measles, etc. are more common in childhood, cancer in middle age, and the tuberculosis in old age. Females are more affected from cancer of various organs than males. Cases of heart attacks are more common in males than in females. Essential hypertension, diabetes, mental diseases are due to genetic factors. Deficiency of proteins may cause Kwashiorkor and other problems. Overeating may lead to obesity and diabetes. Certain habits like smoking may cause lung cancer. Open air defecation may cause soil and water pollution, which ultimately cause various types of intestinal disorders. Now, moving on to the third factor, that is environment. Environment plays a great role for the upkeep of health. Environment is a platform for good health that we all share in common. A healthy environment is crucial for the health and well-being of individuals and communities. Climatic and seasonal factors may determine whether it will be suitable to a particular disease or not. Example, malaria is common in rainy season, whereas common cold is more common in winter. Sanitary conditions, provision of potable water supply, education and standard of living, as well as biological environment, example, animals, insects, rodents, etc. are important factors in determining incidence of diseases. Let us move to the next part of our topic, that is multifactorial etiology of disease. As we know that a disease is a condition in which bodily functions is interfered with or damaged, resulting in characteristic signs and symptoms. Etiology is the study of cause of a disease. Multifactorial etiology pertains to or characteristic of any condition or disease resulting from the interaction of many factors, specifically the interaction of several genes, usually polygenes, with or without the involvement of environmental factors. Many disorders such as spina bifida, neural tube defects and Hirschsprung's disease, these are called multifactorial diseases because they are caused not by a single gene mutation but by a combination of genetic and environmental factors working together. It also refers to a multiple factors in heredity or disease. For example, traits and conditions that are caused by more than one gene occurring together are multifactorial, and diseases that are caused by more than one factor interacting, for example, heredity and diet in diabetes, are multifactorial. Common medical problems such as heart disease, diabetes, and obesity do not have a single genetic cause. They are likely associated with the effects of multiple genes in combination with lifestyle and environmental factors. Conditions caused by many contributing factors are called complex or multifactorial disorders. A great number of diseases such as diabetes, congenital heart defects, spina bifida, and cancer are now known to have a heredity component. Now, moving to characteristics of multifactorial disease. A multifactorial disease has a combination of distinctive characteristics which include the following. The disease can occur in isolation with affected children born to unaffected parents, although familial aggregation is also common, that is, there may be multiple cases in the same family. There is no clear Mendelian pattern of inheritance. Environmental influences can increase or decrease the risk of the disease. The disease occurs more frequently in one gender than in the other, but it is not an X-linked trait. In addition, first-degree relatives of individuals belonging to the more rarely affected gender have a high risk of bearing the disease. Examples of some multifactorial diseases include hyperthyroidism, cancer, and diabetes. Let us now discuss them one by one in detail. First, moving to hyperthyroidism. The thyroid is the largest endocrine gland in the body. It is situated just below the larynx around the trachea. The thyroid gland produces thyroid hormone, which helps the body to grow and develop. It also plays an important role in the body's metabolism. Hyperthyroidism is a condition in which a thyroid gland is overactive and makes excessive amounts of thyroid hormone, thyroxine T4 and triiodothyronine T3. that play an important role in the way your whole body functions. When the thyroid gland is overactive, that is hyperthyroidism, the body's processes speed up and the person experiences nervousness, anxiety, rapid heartbeat, hand tremor, excessive sweating, weight loss, and sleep problems, among other symptoms. Now, moving to the multifactorial etiology of hyperthyroidism. Oversecretion of T4 and T3. Graves' disease is an autoimmune and most common cause of hyperthyroidism. In this disorder, the body makes an antibody against a virus or bacteria called thyroid stimulating immunoglobulin that causes the thyroid gland to make too much thyroid hormone. Graves' disease runs in families and is more commonly found in women. Toxic nodular or multinodular goiter, which are lumps of nodules in the thyroid gland that causes the thyroid to produce excessive amounts of thyroid hormones. Thyroiditis, inflammation of the thyroid gland resulting from a virus or a problem with the immune system may temporarily cause symptoms of hyperthyroidism. Consuming too much iodine, either from foods or supplements, or who take medications containing iodine, may cause the thyroid gland to overproduce thyroid hormones. Second example of multifactorial disease is cancer. Cancer is a class of diseases characterized by uncontrolled cell growth. Cancer is neither contagious nor hereditary disease. Every living organism has some inactive cancer-causing genes called proto-oncogenes. A number of physical, chemical, or biological agents are known to mutate and activate these proto-oncogenes into active and cancer-causing oncogenes. Due to altered gene activity, normal control mechanism is lost and the abnormal cell growth and cell division takes place. The physical and chemical agents which induce cancer growth are called carcinogens. Now, multifactorial etiology of cancer. The etiology of cancer is multifactorial with genetic, environmental, medical, and lifestyle factors interacting to produce a given malignancy. Ionizing radiations like X-rays, gamma rays, and particulate radiations from radioactive substances are known to rupture DNA strands and induce mutations to cause cancers. Example of the carcinogenic effect of X-rays is documented that the incidence of leukemia is about 10 times in radiologists than in other physicians. Japanese people exposed to radiations released from World War II nuclear explosions show 5 times the incidence of leukemia than the rest of the population. Physical irritants like certain foods which cause continued aberration of the lining of the intestinal tract are also carcinogenic. Kashmiris use kangri to keep themselves warm but is known to cause abdominal skin cancer due to constant heat exposure. Chemical agents like caffeine, polycyclic hydrocarbons, heavy metallic ions, etc. are also carcinogenic. Hormones like testosterone and estrogens are known to cause prostate and breast cancer respectively. Chewing of beetles is known to cause mouth cancer. Cigarette and cigar smoking causes lip, mouth, and lung cancers due to presence of a carcinogenic agent, benzpyrene and N-nitrosodimethylene. It has been recently reported that when high carbohydrate foods like potato chips and French fries are heated, then a carcinogenic chemical called acrylamide is formed. Biological agents. Biological agents like microorganisms are known to cause certain cancers. Cervix cancer is caused by viruses, tumor-causing viruses, example, Epstein-Barr virus, herpes simplex type 2 virus, etc. are called oncoviruses. Another example of multifactorial disease is diabetes. Diabetes describes a group of metabolic diseases in which the person has high blood sugar, either because insulin production is inadequate or because the body's cells do not respond properly to insulin, or both. The digestive tract breaks down carbohydrates, sugars and starches found in many foods into glucose, a form of sugar that enters the bloodstream. With the help of the hormone insulin, cells throughout the body absorb glucose and use it for energy. Diabetes develops when the body doesn't make enough insulin or is not able to use insulin effectively, or both. Insulin is made in the pancreas, an organ located behind the stomach. The pancreas contain clusters of cells called islets. Beta cells within the islets make insulin and release it into the blood. Therefore, the diabetes is of two types. Type 1 diabetes, the body doesn't produce insulin. Approximately 10% of the diabetes cases are type 1 insulin-dependent diabetes. Juvenile diabetes or early onset diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, the body does not produce enough insulin for proper function. Approximately 90% of all cases of diabetes worldwide are of this type. Now moving to multifactorial etiology of diabetes. Lack of insulin due to the destruction of insulin producing beta cells in the pancreas. Autoimmune destruction of beta cells. The body's immune system attacks and destroys the insulin producing beta cells, that is the autoimmunity. Environmental factors such as foods, viruses and toxins may play a role in the development of type 1 diabetes, but the exact nature of their role has not been determined. Variants of the TCF7L2 gene increase susceptibility to type 2 diabetes. Insulin resistance is a common condition in people who are overweight or obese, have excess abdominal fat and are not physically active. Muscle, fat and liver cells stop responding properly to insulin, forcing the pancreas to compensate by producing extra insulin. As long as beta cells are able to produce enough insulin, blood glucose levels stay in the normal range. But when the insulin production falters because of beta cells dysfunction, glucose levels rise, leading to prediabetes or diabetes. Problems in cell signaling systems on cell surfaces, insulin receptor molecules capture or bind insulin molecules circulating in the bloodstream. This interaction between insulin and its receptor prompts the biochemical signals that enable the cells to absorb glucose from the blood and use it for energy, can set off a chain reaction that leads to diabetes or other diseases. Dear students, that's all about today's program. Hope you have understood and enjoyed well. Thank you and goodbye.